Canada are walking into a massive match tomorrow against Uruguay and could arguably be one of the biggest matches in Canadian footballing history in recent years, playing against a South American giant in Uruguay, although they might be hindered by some injuries with, of course, Ronald Araujo going out injured in that match against Iran earlier in the week, and of course having Diego Godin and Jesus Maria Jimenez currently injured as well, which is a huge hindrance to their back line. But this is still an incredible Uruguayan side that is set to come against Canada tomorrow. This is going to be a huge test for Canada and Uruguay heading into this 2022 World Cup Qatar. It may be a friendly, but this is a preparation for a World Cup, and nobody is taking this as a friendly. Guys, we're going to jump straight into our match preview, but before we do, make sure to drop down below if you enjoy the content, and if you enjoyed the video, hit that sub button and drop a like down below, and also drop a comment down below. Let me know your guys' predicted lineups, as I'll be saying mine in just a few minutes, and also your general thoughts on tomorrow's match coming up. But we're going to jump straight into the match preview. And guys, we all witnessed that 2-0 dominant performance by Canada over Qatar earlier this past week. And it was in a massive match, and it was a quality performance for Canada as we dismantled Qatar. Really, it was a brilliant 35 minutes in the start of the first half, and we kind of cruised on from that afterwards. We came out in that brilliant 5-2-3 formation, or whatever you want to call it, because it switched from a 4-4-2, a 5-4-1, a 4-3-3. It was so many different things we went to, and what is so beautiful about this Canadian men's national team roster and lineup is how versatile our players are and how versatile these lineups can be. The fact that we can just interchange and move around positions and how versatile we are is such a huge threat and positivity that we can have, and such a useful thing that John Herdman can do with this side. The fact that we can have Larrea and Hoylet. Larrea can play left wing back, and we have so many different things we can do in this side. It is massive, and it is a huge help. But for me, I'm very excited to see what we can do. Of course, as we went to that Qatar game, we dominated possession, we dominated shots, chances, and everything to do with that game. It did finish 2-0 with, of course, we all know who scored. Laren and David are two number 9s. But of course, that match could have been 3 or 4-0. Miller had a huge chance off the bar. Ugbo should have scored. And for me, that match was brilliant by Canada. But we're heading into a match against a much better side. Yes, although they may have some huge injuries hindering them, this is a huge test for Canada against a South American giant. You're looking at players like a Luis Suarez, a Darwin Nunez. Of course, their backline is hugely under attack from injuries, but their midfield is arguably one of the best in world football. With, of course, Bentancur, you have also as well in there with Ernesto Valverde and Vecino, who could be replaced by Lucas Torreira going into this match against Canada. And this is a massive matchup, as really, if you're wondering who Uruguay compares to in Canada's group heading into the World Cup, it is Croatia by a mile. Yes, Croatia have tinkered with the 3 in the back, the 5 in the back, but they are a 4-3-3 side with, of course, a midfielder Luka Modric, Mateo Kovacic, and Brozovic in their midfield. And it is one of probably the best midfield in world football at passing the ball, controlling it, having one of the best defensive midfielders in the world as well with Brozovic, and it is a very dangerous Croatian side. But this is a very huge test for Canada against Uruguay. Of course, Uruguay came up against Iran earlier in the week where they did fall, losing 1-0, but Uruguay did really control all the possession and having 63% of that possession, creating 15 shots to only 2 big chances. And you look at Uruguay's forwards, no one played very well. Uruguay are a side with a brilliant forward group, and of course a aging Luis Suarez, a very young and prospect of Facundo Palestri on the right hand side, and you have Darwin Nunez on the left. And it's a very interesting side, and of course it will be a very good test. The guys who I'm looking at for Canada to really see and surprise me and get tested the most in this match are 2 CF Montreal boys. And of course, Kamal Miller and Alistair Johnston. Yes, 2 of our back 3, and these 2 are highly rumored with moves to Europe, and more than likely we'll get them once the MLS comes to the off season. And you're going to be testing them against the guys like Darwin Nunez, Luis Suarez, and of course, a midfielder Bentancur, and of course, Ernesto Valverde. And you're going to have scouts at this game, you're going to have scouts watching this film and looking at how they can fare against some of the best players in the world. And looking at what Miller and Johnson can really do against them is going to hugely boost their stock or kind of drop it a bit on what teams may be looking at them, what leagues may be looking at them, and their true talent and skill level. For me, it's going to be a huge match for Canada, no matter which way you look at it. And guys, my predicted lineup, I'm going to bring it up right now, and it is basically the same as Alexander Gonga-Ruzic. And I have Milan Borjan in net, as you guys will be able to see. Kamal Miller, Vittoria, Alistair Johnson. It is basically a replica from last game, because that is basically our best lineup and best formation and best squad. With Atakubi and, of course, Junior Hoylett at right wing back. For me, it's interchangeable between Richie Laryea and Junior Hoylett. It might be Richie Laryea due to the fact that we won't hold as much possession as we did against Qatar, so Junior Hoylett's role won't be as strong or as influential, but I feel putting Junior Hoylett in the squad is going to be a huge boost because he is truly the captain right now. I think either Vittoria or Boyan could easily be the captain without Atiba. But you look at Junior Hoylett, you need your captain on the field, in my opinion. And having Junior Hoylett out there, he creates so much more than people really see. And he will be able to bomb up and down that flank, create chances, interchangeable 1-2s, creating triangles. And the only thing you'll get with Richie Laryea that you don't get with Junior Hoylett especially is that defensive ability, the defensive contribution. That is why I think John Herdman might go with Richie Laryea over Junior Hoylett, just because he's able to track back and work a bit harder defensively when we won't have as much of the ball against Uruguay. But of course, guys, my midfield two will be, of course, Eustachio and Samuel Piette. I would love to see Ismail Kone in this roster over Samuel Piette, but I think the experience, the knowledge that Samuel Piette walked into this game with, and the pitbull nature he has, is going to be huge against a side like Uruguay. But it would be amazing to see Ismail Kone test his tier 1 potential against players like, of course, I've already said, in Bentancur and Ernesto Valverde. But you also look up front, Davies, David, and Larin. Front three has to stay the same. They all look fantastic, but brilliant, interchangeable of all of them. David drifting inside, Larin drifting out to the left. You have Davies drifting inside. It is beautiful to watch those three roam around and play around. I think they're going to give the Uruguay back line so much trouble. And of course, the three-man midfield as well. It's going to be a massive test for Canada. I'm so excited to see it, and I'm right here for it. It's going to be an amazing watch. I'll be here for a match reaction after the game as well to break down everything going on with that match. Let me know what you guys think down below about Canada, your predicted lineups, my predicted lineup, what you guys might change. Of course, hit that sub button down below and drop a like. I hope you guys enjoy the new thumbnails as well, and I'll see you guys all for the next one, which will be right after the match tomorrow. See you guys. Peace.